All right, guys. So as you know, the NFL season is back. Okay, I'm excited. I'm very happy. And the easiest way for you guys to play fantasy is with Underdog Sports. Now, check this out. It's super simple. All you have to do is pick each week which players you think are going to go higher. And here are my picks for the week. Underdog is now matching up to $500 on your first deposit when using promo code Bradley. Again, that's up to $500 matching on your first deposit. Promo code Bradley, BRADLEY. Do it right now or miss out. Yeah. If you guys want to come, you want to play with me, Underdog Sports has got you guys 100%, super easy, best way to play. You can also go on the App Store. I know they got an app as well. Underdog Pick'em games are available in 32 states, including California, Texas, and Florida. All right, guys, so check this out. Sign up on UnderdogFantasy.com, code Bradley. They're going to match your bet of up to $100, and you get a special pick this weekend. Do it right now. Easiest place to do it. UnderdogFantasy.com, code Bradley. Do it. Or you're missing out and you're losing, and that would suck. And it's a bad decision. So UnderdogFantasy.com, code Bradley. You get up to $100. They'll match you with what you're putting in there. I don't know why you'd miss out on it. Go do it right now. I love you guys. Let's get back into this podcast. Well, I wanted to bring you here because obviously we're talking about the fighting stuff today. Got to talk a little bit about it.
Yeah, man.
And for some reason, I feel like I don't know if it was like 2 weeks ago or something, but like Sneeko was like, yo, you should have this guy on your pod. That's how I found out about you.
Oh, word. Okay.
I don't know a ton, but 2 weeks ago, were you in some 2-3 weeks ago in some drama or some shit?
I've been in drama for the last year, it feels like. Depending on who it is, mostly with the KSI Misfits side. I used to work with the company alongside Misfits through DAZN. Was one of their commentators. And
so you worked for DAZN with
I worked for DAZN with Misfits, right?
Okay.
Misfits, brought me to DAZN and said, hey, we like this guy. Can we have him, come and work with us? But I worked for DAZN, paid through DAZN to do the whole Misfits deal, and also work PFL, which is an MMA company that works here in the States and also in the UK.
That's the Jake Paul one.
That's the one Jake has partnered with, and I'm pretty sure maybe he owns a percentage of. Yeah, Ngannou.
Yeah.
And then also I work now with Most Valuable Prospects and MVP, Most Valuable Promotions, which is Jake's promotional company.
So you work with the enemies. They're enemies.
Well, I didn't start working there until I was done with Misfits.
Oh, so that's.
But the whole, I've been on podcasts talking about it. Long story short, I came out with an opinion in online and offline with Misfits. I had some opinions on things that I just wasn't willing to compromise on.
Like what?
The tag team boxing, when it first started, I was worried about the safety of it, just because I come from the combat sports realm, and I was like, man, these guys in the influencer boxing scene are still learning to box. Do we really want to put two of them in a ring, and switch them out?
Wait, they were gonna do that? I didn't know. See, I don't know enough about this. You're telling me Misfits was gonna have tag team boxing?
They have it. They currently have it. And
Who's doing that?
Well, so they do it, and it's fantastic. By the way, once I saw it in person, I was like, okay, they've taken the right protocol and safety measures to make sure this is done safely. My big thing was like, you got dudes that don't understand, the intricacies of boxing. God forbid one of them gets hurt and turns his back on somebody to go and tag out, and dude says, back of the head shot. Dude could be on the ground.
Because it's with influencers?
Because it's with influencers, and we're still learning the sport. You know what I'm saying? And to be quite frank, what boxing commission is going to understand how to judge tag team boxing and the safety of it? But they did a great job with it the first time, and they've done well with it since. Actually, the best one was I've been on live stream for 28 hours. Was it last night? Yesterday? Yeah, yesterday. Yeah. They did one as well. So this has been a thing they've done now. They don't do it a ton, but they bring it out as a nice kind of prop show deal.
Yeah. Well, we'll get more into this whole Jake Paul.
Yeah. For sure.
But I want to figure out how did you get started in in this space?
So
you have background in mixed martial arts?
So I started covering the sport. I trained Muay Thai for about 2, 3, 4 years before anything. And I just started, I always wanted to be a broadcaster. Went to college, played football in college. I'm from
You
Tennessee.
knew when you were, how old are you now?
I'm 30 now. So
when you were in college, you knew you wanted to be a broadcaster.
I knew I wanted to be a broadcaster at like 6 years old, man. I knew.
Based on what?
Just I loved talking about sports. I was up at ESPN Sports Center every day, 6 a.m. on my couch, just watching. It's just locked in. LeBron James, 18 years old, going into the league. I'm there as a kid, And I fell in love with sports so early that I knew that if I couldn't be, I wanted to be in the NFL. But if I couldn't do that, I wanted to commentate on the sport.
Yeah.
So once I got through college, dropped out of college, but I was like majoring in business. I was like, forget all this shit. I'm not doing this business stuff. I'm going to go and pursue it now.
Yeah.
But then I got to start pursuing it, and I realized, well, you probably needed that degree.
For
Smart
what?
guy.
For
well,
what?
At the time, I think that's how I thought. And then I'm like, okay, let me just try this YouTube channel. I started my YouTube channel in 2017, called it The Wade Concept.
Yeah.
We are debating everything. It's also my name, Wade.
I like it.
I was like, ooh, I'm clever, you know?
Yeah.
But
I like it.
I was like, okay, this will be my way to make a resume. Since I don't have the degree, I'll start commentating on cards. So I started commentating on the UFC cards, like even the fight nights, all that, 9 hours at a time, just early prelims all the way through the main event. Maybe 2 people watching on these live streams I was doing, just hammering. And I would do like a once a week midweek show where I was just sitting there in front of the camera, just me talking about the fights coming up for about an hour or so. And I did that, I would say, for about 2 years, on and off. Sometimes I'd get demotivated, frustrated, and be like, ugh. And funny enough, I used to come up to LA, hand out resumes and stuff. Like, I was trying, man. I was trying to figure it out. I would slide them under doors over at Fox Sports and Showtime and all that.
You were trying to get picked up by like a big network.
Because I didn't know any other way to do it.
When did you start catching steam on the internet?
I think a couple things happened. I started working with a company in Irvine. I live in Orange County. And I started actually 2 companies. One called Hall Pass Media. Shout out to them. It was actually where I just did my live stream, kind of a full circle moment. They let me use their warehouse. And I did the NBA Summer League. I interned for them. And I learned how to edit there. And I was like, oh, okay, maybe I should stop doing these long forms and learn to edit. And then influencer boxing started to happen. This is around the 2017, 2018 time period.
KSI Logan Paul stuff.
KSI Logan Paul won.
I remember that. I was there.
I covered it. And it was
That's
like,
when I punched Vitaly in the face.
yeah, man, hit him with a nasty right. I remember too.
Did you talk about that?
Yeah, because I was like, I'm watching it and I'm like, okay, I didn't know who you were yet because I'm still getting in. I'm like, there's a big motherfucker standing there because I had seen one of the clips and I was like, this guy Vitaly tried to choke him for some reason.
Yeah, like did a neck push.
He tried to give you like the freaking throat chop, and I was like, bad move. And you showed him. He's like, right hand down the pipe on him, and he immediately switched that energy. He was like, sorry, man. Whoa, hey, you know what I mean? Like, it was crazy to watch the switch, but. Yeah, I covered that, and I saw the big gap in the market I saw was that people were just making fun of it that weren't influencers, that people I knew, like the boxing analysts, the
all
MMA
serious
analysts.
people.
Yeah, the people that I took seriously weren't taking it seriously. And I was like, well, I've trained in Muay Thai and then started to do boxing because I was like, I'm not getting kicked in the head anymore. Forget this. I was like, this sucks. I started training and I was like, I've been where they're at. So maybe I can speak. Like, I can't go and critique Canelo Alvarez like, oh, he should do this, do that. But I can for people that are starting the sport.
Right.
And show little holes and take it seriously. And I started covering it more and more. And I think the big break was...
But beyond beyond your actual application, like your own use in the sport, is your knowledge of the sports vast?
I would say for... I don't know.
Like, which sport in particular do you like the most?
MMA, for sure.
Okay, so the UFC guy.
Yeah, for sure. UFC, like I said, PFL, Bellator, sometimes one championship depending on who's fighting.
One championship's crazy, bro.
I love it. I love it. Well, hopefully, I'm going to do some stuff with them. But
that's like, isn't that the biggest one in the whole world?
Well, they employ a lot of fighters from a lot of different places, but the UFC is technically still the leader.
The leader as far as like viewership?
Yeah. Their viewership is a lot done free. Like, they have a lot of free viewership. The UFC's paid viewership is far bigger.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Far bigger.
So you started to find success because you just kept doing it?
Pretty much. I kept covering influencer boxing, and then I think the big break was Nate Robinson.
Oh man, that was one of the funniest memes, man.
A lot of the sports world that didn't, really follow the fight game looked at this like, oh, this Disney kid Jake's gonna get washed. And I'm like, I'm telling you,
because he's a basketball player.
He's a basketball guy, high-level athlete. And I'm like, I'm telling you, it's not gonna go well for your boy. I'm watching this, and I'm watching the way he's preparing. He doesn't understand what Jake's becoming legit.
Yeah.
And covered that. Got a lot of traction, and then obviously Ben Askren happened, and I was famously on the side of Ben Askren because of this MMA guy at heart. I was like, bro, there's no way.
I feel like everyone does that. Even recently with the Dillon Danis thing, like everyone's like, Dillon's gonna save us. And
no, dog. Bro, we've learned at this point. We've learned.
Yeah. So what's your take on it now? Because like obviously then no one took it serious, and you were trying to kind of take it serious and like be more into commentating, giving it like some just value.
Yeah.
Now after, obviously I do feel like people are taking it more serious, but like after last night, I don't know. There's something about it that just still feels kind of corny. Like, I like it. It still feels kind of corny. Well, like, because when I think about this fight, let's talk about KSI and Tommy Fury first, and we'll talk about Logan and Dillon Danis. But I don't know. I guess I was expecting something different because, you know, they've been training now for time, like a couple years. And then when I see this fight, KSI, and like, dude, I'm not in the ring. I'm not sitting here shitting on these people, but I feel like KSI relies on big overhand right. If he doesn't get it, it's a clinch. That's like what the repetition of that fight was. It felt like it was the same. I made a tweet jokingly being like, it's like watching a Street Fighter. Someone play Street Fighter, just spam the same move.
Spamming the move, right.
And like, that's what it felt like. Yeah. And so I'm like, and then also too, did you see, you probably see, because you probably on this like I am all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
KSI had recently, they were like, let's overturn this decision. And they sent it back in and they sent back out that it went from a majority to a unanimous decision. So he tried to say, yo, redo this decision, and it got worse for him.
So I don't know that the appeal has actually been filed yet. I think what happens is when boxing scorecards are made, there is a review of scorecards just internally after fights, just to make sure that everything was calculated correctly. On the night, when the scores was just calculated incorrectly. The appeal process still hasn't happened yet, so they're still waiting on the actual appeal. One of the scorecards just mathematically was wrong. Okay. So that's all that was. They changed what was already supposed to have been on the scorecard, a unanimous decision, to a unanimous decision. You know what I'm saying? Got it.
So
the appeal process will probably, today is Sunday. It'll probably
Do you think it's going to get overturned?
No. I think that because of the way the fight is being judged, I don't see that changing, if that makes sense. There's a lot of stuff that goes into how fights are judged based on what you like as a sportsman or what you like as a judge. And based on the way they judged it, I don't think it's going to get changed.
So how are they judging clinching?
That's the big point. That's
like,
the major point.
I swear to God, I watched that fight and it just felt, I'm not even trying to dog these people. I'm not trying to dog KSI, but it's just like, he just did a big overhand, and if it didn't do what he wanted it to do, which it didn't the whole fight, he's ending up in a clinch, and then they're just like smacking each other.
Exactly. So the clinch, boxing in the clinch is called dirty boxing for a reason. It's kind of the technical gray area in the sport. Some commissions and judges will value it because of the work you do in there, even if you're not necessarily holding, but close quarters combat, right? In the pocket, because you can judge it that way. But also, there is a bit of illegality in holding and punching in the clinch. Again, it's a gray area where it's like, how do you feel you judge it? You know,
it's weird because like you see KSI complaining about it, but it's like complaining because he's getting hit in the back of the head or whatever, and this and that. It's like, you're the one going in for the clinch every single time.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of, like I said, it was almost a mirror match too, because just to back up, JJ's style is not a traditional boxing style at all.
Yeah, of course.
He takes a lot of inspiration and almost a carbon copy of Michael Venom Page, who he trains with at London Shoot Fighters. I don't know if you've ever heard of Michael Venom Page. He's a bladed fighter, he's a highlight machine. You should watch him. He's a dope fighter, fights for Bellator. But he takes a very bladed stance, sideways almost, instead of that squared up shoulder, and will dart in and out. The gift and the curse of that style is what you saw on Saturday, is that if JJ doesn't land the big right hand, he overcrowds everything. And Tommy obviously is trying to get his jab off and work to range too, so these two are colliding
constantly,
over and over.
Yeah.
It made for an ugly fight, and I'm not going to sit here and dog it like you said, because it is what it is. Styles make fights. When you want a guy that wants to move forward with his jab and another guy that wants to use explosive movement, they're going to collide over and over. But yeah, the complaining stuff, I don't understand. It's just one of those things where it's frustrating on both sides. Tommy's like, I just couldn't get going because this guy is just, like you said, right hand and then falling in behind it.
Yeah.
And KSI's like, well, dude, this guy is just hitting me behind the head in the clinch and is doing this. And I just think it was one of those fights where their styles was such a style clash that it became a dog fight and didn't look very pretty at all.
Yeah. Well, now, what about Logan Paul and Dillon Danis?
That one, I was like, what did you expect? You know, that one was crazy, but it's like,
oh, man, I just got to say this, dude. I just don't want to hear about Dillon Danis ever again, man. Yeah. Like, I invited him on the pod a few times, and
he's tough to get a hold of, by the way.
Yeah. And I'd love to still talk to him, but bro, like, I don't know what, like, because I saw
you were disappointed with it.
I was disappointed because, you know, obviously, I know he's a jiu-jitsu guy, high level, super high level. No disrespect in there, but it's like he was talking shit as if like he was gonna do something, and then it showed up that it's literally like at first you're watching, you're like, okay, maybe he's just trying to tire this guy out, and then it's like the last round, you're like, is he like what's happening?
Yeah,
and it's just like obviously what it looked like to me was he goes, okay, I'm in over my head. I'm gonna just try not to get knocked out, and then that's my claim, and also just mess around and pretend like I don't care about this and jump on the floor and do all these like antics so that the people who are watching me, all these fans who've been riding with me for the last couple months are still like, haha, you got him. But it's like,
it's a safe face moment.
Yeah, it's a safe face, but you still look stupid.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day.
You gotta hit it right on the head. Like I can't even describe it any better than that because he posts, and by the way, Dillon.
Hold on, he posts what, the one punch he took out of the 9?
Well, the one punch he took, but he also posts I don't know the movie, but where Robert De Niro is playing the character.
Yeah,
Ray Leonard. He's like, you didn't knock me out, Ray. Yeah. You didn't, and he's leaning into that, right? As okay, well, you didn't do what you said you were going to do, but Dillon didn't do what he said he was going to do. So it's like,
well, he didn't do anything.
You didn't show up to box. You showed up to get your, like you said, your safe face moment. If this was a real fight, I'd do this, that, and the other. The problem is, even when he did the real fight thing, he's like, Logan slipped out of the guillotine and damn near
hammer-fisted him. I even see Mighty Mouse being like, he couldn't even
land the guillotine. Couldn't
even land that.
He tried to go single leg on Logan and he didn't even try. But again, you got the boxing gloves on, but he sprawled it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, cool. Logan wins the MMA. Argument too.
But that's what I'm saying. It's just so, it's like, and then I saw a tweet today that I actually responded to, and I'm like, he's like, yeah, Jake, you can't knock me out. It's like, so it's just like you're boxing just to show that you can't get knocked out? Like, it's just weird to me, dude.
Dillon was a very, very smart guy in his build-up. He did exactly what he wanted to do, and I don't blame him for it. And you even saw Conor being like, great show, kid, phenomenal. You know what I'm saying? Like, Conor was doing
trolling.
It was a troll fest.
They're all trolling.
You got a crazy bag to come in and troll boxing. And that's where you talked about the legitimacy stuff. That's where I'm like, man, what are we doing? Because at least if you didn't like the KSI and Tommy fight for whatever reasons, maybe the post-fight, I think part of it was the post-fight attitude that turned people off. But if you didn't like that, at least both guys tried. At least they were in there trying to win.
Yeah. No, I cannot. There's no disrespect on that.
You know what I'm saying?
I didn't like to show up and just guard the whole time and then be like, you didn't get me though. It's like,
you said, I think the strategy, if it was this or if it would have been him going for 2 or 3 rounds to try to go high guard, let Logan gas, right, rope-a-dope him a bit, and then get back into the fight. Even if you're not the most technical guy, just swing something. That would have been okay. I'm with you. Let's do it.
Did you see? Because I didn't think this. Only for like one moment did Logan ever look tired. Even.
He didn't have to be he didn't have to do anything defensively. This is the thing, Logan, when he can dictate a fight and fight on his terms and take breaks and bounce around for a little bit, he's not going to gas.
He didn't even have to put his hands up.
No, that's part of Logan's style too. I've still yet to see someone make him pay for that. Other than KSI obviously won the fight, but really make Logan pay, because to me Logan didn't look drastically different over the 2 or 3 year time. Like you said, guys have been training this for 5 years. He has a trainer in Milton Supreme that does implement a style like that. It's been successful with other guys, but I was not super impressed with Logan, but that's not his fault.
Who do you think wins, Jake Paul or Logan Paul if they fought? All right, guys, quick interruption for the podcast. Manscaped, check this out. I've talked about this before, but it always makes sense to continue to talk about this. If you guys are looking for some sort of routine, Manscaped's got you. Very, very simple. They you can literally get the platinum package, and they got everything you need from the ability to shave your pubic hair to your facial hair, clean, there's shampoo, deodorant, there's underwear, everything you need to be just a clean kept man, which is very, very important. And if you guys have not ever done this, you've never had a consistent routine for skin or hair, once you start to do it, honestly, you're just going to feel better. And like they always say, if you look good, you feel good. If you feel good, you perform good. If you perform good, life's better. Very, very simple. Okay. So go to Manscaped. If you guys want to check it out right now, they got the platinum package. Right now they have 20% off plus free shipping if you use code RAWTALK at manscaped.com. Again, that's at manscaped.com, 20% off plus free shipping. Put code RAWTALK, support your boy, but more importantly, support yourself, take care of yourself, fresh, nice and clean. You're going to feel good. That's what this is all about. Let's get back into the podcast. And also there was a moment where I was watching some playback, and where when Logan was unloading on him, they were like, Jake Paul. And the announcers was like, Jake Paul unloading on him.
Yeah.
Bro, what the fuck?
The struggle sometimes. And that's another thing that people are upset about too is, and I won't disrespect any of the commentary. Some of those guys I've worked with, like the great Todd Grisham and those guys, but there's sometimes when you bring people into this scene that don't understand it, it gives off, a corporate vibe. Okay, they don't even understand who this is, and it turns the fans off a bit. You know what I mean?
It's funny. So yeah,
Jake and Logan, I would stay with Jake right now, because Logan, like I said, he didn't look drastically different. And even when he does sit down on shots, it looks like, again, arm punching. It doesn't look like his base is underneath him with a lot of stuff offensively.
Because I feel like he had some pretty good opportunities to KO Danis.
It looks like, again, I don't know how you'd even describe it. A lot of arm punching, almost frantic in some spaces too, to just keep on his jab, and sometimes volume for no reason. Whereas if he contained a bit of that and was more patient, used his feet to get to positions versus reaching on shots. There's parts of the fight where he's going after Dillon, like stalking him down, and he looks like he's throwing a baseball pitch. Back leg comes flying off the ground. He's just winging stuff, and I'm like, man, you told and again, no disrespect to Logan, he won the fight clearly, and fantastic win for him. But I was like, for him to be telling people I got this much better in 2 years, I didn't see that. I saw a guy that won a fight that he should have won, and I think everybody thought he would win, against a guy that wasn't there to box.
Yeah. I just wonder what happens when
I did see a tweet from you, though.
What tweet? Which tweet?
I know you're a troll on Twitter, but I have to ask about it. You said,
yo, my tweets are going viral.
You were going
so
stupid,
funny.
bro. You said Logan is 100% on steroids.
I'm willing to bet all
when
the
you
money.
say steroids, though, steroids, because I'm a biohack guy too. So, do you mean he's on PEDs or legitimately like anabolics?
Well, they're the same thing. Performance-enhancing drugs and anabolics are the same thing.
Okay, I'm just making it like,
Yeah,
I don't know
yeah.
if you're talking peptides or what you know what I'm saying?
No, I think he's on testosterone.
You think he's on
I'm not saying he's taking fucking Tren or he's on all some crazy shit.
That's what I'm saying. Right.
No. So PEDs, obviously, all these things are the same.
You just think he's on PEDs, yeah.
I think he's taking steroids. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do 100%. I'm willing to bet that. All the money that I have, I'd bet.
I've always had my suspicions, and
And then, dude, I'm not even sitting here being like, fuck him for that at all. I just want to make that clear.
Okay. I mean, but in combat sports.
Well, so now we got to talk about. I want to keep talking about this.
We'll get into it, yeah.
Okay. So let's keep talking about the Logan thing. So what do you think? Do you think he is or he isn't?
I think he has for sure, but I don't know if he is currently.
Why would he not? Why would he not? If you know.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
He's looking in the mirror. He's in his bathroom. And he's like, fuck it. He's like, Dillon, I'm gonna kill this fucking kid. He's like injecting his fucking shit because he's like, I gotta protect Nina.
Yeah, facts,
you know?
facts. And he did. Fair play to him. He did. Listen.
And he's like,
for all the criticisms,
he's looking a little more angular in the face.
The thing I've always thought is like, how do you get bigger and then lean out as you get bigger? I don't know that I'm not.
How do you get bigger and then lean out as you get bigger?
Like it's usually a process of getting bigger, leaning. He's leaning
now
out
you're onto
as
it.
He's getting bigger.
Now you're. See, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
That's what I've always asked the question.
And I'm a professional. You know what I'm saying?
Like I'm not. You know,
I'm
obviously, but I've always asked that question because if I've ever tried to get bigger, it's a process of doing that.
Yeah, that's why I'm making the assumption.
But I won't go as far as to say he's on it right now, just because I can't prove that part. Like I can go, and like you said, it's an assumption, but there is a testing process for boxing. Apparently, they tested post fight. Usually, that should be a pre and post fight test. I'm not going to get into the specifics of what I would have liked to have seen, but if they tested him, he comes out clean. It is what it is. He's not on it now, but that doesn't mean he hasn't been on it before. That was my whole point.
Yeah, I mean, you could with the drugs. I mean, you could just take a certain amount to a degree, and then the half life, and then eventually it's gone out of your system, and you can balance the levels so that the ratios are still correct in relationship to everything else, so you'll come out clean. I mean, that's how people have been beating drug tests forever.
Right.
And then also taking just like gray area drugs that aren't actually tested for. And
that was another thing too.
There's a ton of shit.
The test itself has to be a little more stringent.
Yeah.
But like I said, I thought Logan didn't look any different, but he didn't have to.
Bro, this is one of the biggest
big
things.
Time win.
One of the biggest things, like, is just the thickness, like the diameter of the veins.
Yeah.
Like it's a androgen use. You don't just your veins don't just get thick. Like your muscles in relationship to like how thick your veins are.
You got them inflatable SpongeBob arms, bro. Those things are jacked.
I mean, he's got great genetics. There's no denying this. But
Man,
you know, the ratio and how it happens, how quickly, it's like the veins don't just get that thick, even if you're like training. I mean, it's not a normal progression to get your veins that. Because I looked at him, I've seen him all the other ones, and then this one from the last one is like drastically different.
Yeah.
So I mean, it is what it is.
We'll see. Like I said, it doesn't look like he's going to be here for a long time with the boxing anyway. But
I think both those brothers take gear. By the way, Jake and Logan.
You think Jake's on it too?
Yeah. Why not?
I don't know about Jake, man.
Really?
I don't see any big drastic difference with him. And plus, he's doing VADA testing, which is a pretty stringent test in these boxing things. Logan hasn't.
He's doing that.
He's done it for his last, I think, 3 fights.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay,
man.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you know, and Jake doesn't have an abnormal body shape or abnormal growth progression in his body either. That's the one thing I'll stand firm on is I don't think Jake, I mean, I can't say ever, I don't know, but I don't think Jake, since he started boxing, has been on that.
Damn, shout out Jake Paul. That's dope.
That VADA testing is legitimate.
Maybe a little growth hormone.
I don't know. I don't know.
I'm just trolling.
I don't know.
I was just trolling.
But to me, it doesn't look like that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like, I think he's been, and the tests speak for themselves for him. Like, he's been it's been a year and a half now of VADA testing, and he's come out clean. Random VADA testing too. Like not like, yo, we're going to show up at this time. Like, yo, they show up, you better be there. Here's the test. A sample, B sample. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So what do you think about Dillon continuing to fight? Do you think he should continue to fight in this whole arena?
No. I think that it's been found out what he's going to show up to do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And if that's your cup of tea, if that's what you want to watch, then okay. But I don't think it does influencer boxing any justice to have people going in there purposely to survive, not win.
Yeah, I mean, it makes
I want to see Dillon in MMA.
Yeah.
I've been wanting to see that. And I hope he goes back and does that because I do think he's a talented MMA fighter.
But do you think any of those guys will give him a time of day in MMA?
The names he wants, probably not after that. But the difference is he takes that seriously. I don't know how seriously he took this. In fact, I don't think he did. Show up, make a bag, cool, dip. He didn't come in with a long-time coach. Did a ton of media, and fair play, he took that in very seriously. But
yeah. You saw the night before he was out.
The night before he's out doing his thing, though. I'm like, bro.
Dude, he's
what did y'all think?
Kind of funny.
What did y'all think when
I'm just
when you
pissed
see that?
I spent $54, dude. I think I was joking.
Yeah.
I was joking. Another tweet that went viral was like, I'm going to sue them because the whole Logan's.
Yo, someone showed me that when we were, I think Le'Veon, I was there with Le'Veon Bell. He showed me. He was like, look at this.
Yeah.
Honestly, though, like that's the thing is when you pay for something, that's the least you want. Like,
I just wanted more than like at least 20 punches thrown.
You just want someone to take it seriously. Like, go in to win. We're not expecting you to be Canelo. We're not expecting you to be like, Triple G or nothing like that.
It was disappointing, man. Yeah. It was.
But the rest of the card, that's the thing too, is the undercard is dope.
Okay, yeah. So my favorite, I was telling Jacob this, my favorite fight on that whole thing was Slim and Salt Poppy.
Crazy fight.
Bro, like, that was amazing.
Crazy fight. Again, the difference between people taking it seriously and people not.
Yeah.
Dillon didn't have any moment like that because those dudes tried.
It did kind of suck for Logan because, like, obviously I don't think they pay. I jokingly said, did they pay him for this? Another tweet, but I don't think they paid him for that. But like, it must kind of suck to be like, you win, but just kind of almost by default.
That's what I'm saying. That's the whole thing is like, we can sit here and talk about whatever with Logan, but the guy worked his ass off. He tried. He got in there and he did what he was supposed to do. You can't take that win away from him, but it does suck to be him, I'm sure, because like, fuck, dude. Like, I'm not even getting the victory I should have got. You know,
got a bunch of money or whatever, but like the guy just wasted everyone's fucking time.
I know.
Like,
and that's the thing. And fair play to Logan. He was saying it. He's like, you're here to waste everyone's time, but I'm just going to shut you up once and for all. Maybe on like a moral scale for Logan because of all the onslaught of attacks, he just needed to get it done with. So
yeah.
But it does suck for Logan.
So you think no more Dillon Danis in this sport?
Not in influencer boxing or any boxing, I don't think. I think MMA still he's going to have a market. And I
feel like that's his only route now. He has to do that.
Yeah.
I wonder who would take that.
I mean, with Bellator getting folded into the PFL, potentially.
But that's not certain yet?
I don't know that the deal's gone through yet, and I don't know that they're speaking on it super publicly, but looks like that's what's going to happen. I don't know that he wants to go over there, but it would probably be his best shot at getting some of that legitimacy back. I don't know that Dana White's going to look at that and go, I want him in the UFC. Because what's Dana always value? Go fucking fight.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If you don't show up and fight in front of Dana, he will bounce you out that night. He'll get in the post-fight presser and be like, yeah, that guy's gone.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
yeah.
I don't know.
Fuck.
And you can't trust it now. Even though I think he would go and take it seriously, you can't trust it.
Yeah. So on the Dana White and the UFC and steroids, what do you think about the USADA stuff being like departed?
I like it, to be honest. I like it because fighters have a little bit more. Well, hopefully, again, the fighters almost have no bargaining agreements in the UFC. It's like, sign this or whatever. Like, they have no antitrust. There is no, union right now.
Yeah.
Like there would be for other sports like the NFL. So the fighters are always in a kind of take it or leave it situation, and it's an individual sport, so no one wants to team up to do it. But in that case specifically, the USADA was great for what it was in keeping tests of fighters consistent and making sure people were clean. But it was also a bit of an overreach, in my opinion.
Why?
because you have guys popping for weed and being suspended 2 to 3 years at a time.
Yeah, that's not that's
or
trash.
guys having whereabouts infractions and being suspended. Like USADA can show up to the places that you have to supposedly like check in with them to be. Like if USADA came looking for you and you weren't at home, they'd be like, all right, you need to be home in 30 minutes to an hour because your whereabouts says you're in Los Angeles. If you're not, you're getting hit with an infraction. Like you have to continually update with them where
like
you're going to be.
It's like school, but 24/7. And you get fucking infractions and shit.
Crazy.
That's fucked. I didn't even know that.
Guys can get suspended for like multiple infractions, you know, whatever, wherever. Like you have to check in. If you're leaving the country, you got to tell them. If you're leaving the state, you got to tell them.
Oh my God. What the fuck?
So for that reason, I'm like, yeah, bro, thank God. Like, let's get the fighters a little bit more control of, and also you're seeing online, Conor McGregor 10-7 USADA. And it's kind of true. I don't know the ins and outs of what Conor was or wasn't taking, but you want to talk about human growth?
Oh no, I 100% believe he was on steroids.
And I don't have any problem with it for what it was used for. Hopefully,
yeah.
The guy broke his fucking leg.
Recover his shit up.
You know what I'm saying?
Fuck yeah, I support that.
100%.
Yeah,
if he's out of competition and he's wanting to be able to walk around and not have these injuries, I got injuries, dude. I had a torn bicep, lateral ligament tear in my ankle, knee, hernias. Like, if I could have done stuff like that, I had the money to do it, and it was all. I was doing it for a sport. Yeah, bro.
Well, let's talk about this at a high level then, just steroids in general, and speaking about that in professional sports. I'm willing to bet that most players at the top of any sport are using these things to recover.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
And I'd also go on to say that I think like it shouldn't be as stigmatized as it is, because it's like, 100%. Listen, these people are, you know, obviously performing for the whole world in front of fucking everyone. Like their whole life depends on this.
Yeah.
I wish it was more clear and open, like, hey, this is kind of just a part of this thing, and everyone kind of knows it, because I feel like everyone kind of knows it now.
Yep.
But like this gray area where like, so that guy does it, but this guy doesn't. And it's like you can, but you can't.
Yep.
And it's just kind of like, man, just like, I feel like fuck it, just if they're gonna do this because like everyone gets this, you know, when they think of steroids, everyone thinks of like some big jacked bodybuilder.
Right.
And that's not at all like what it is.
Yeah.
You can get that from it if you're like trying to get that.
Yeah.
But it's about recovery. It's about like stress reduction. There's so many parts of it that are just beneficial to anyone in any sport.
Right.
And it's like, even a basketball player could take something from this playbook
for sure
and gain a massive benefit that's going to make them recover, like be able to come back on the court sooner.
For sure.
So it's just like, I'm willing to bet they're all dabbling in this stuff. And it's like, man, let's just like stop fucking trying to police this shit.
Yeah.
Like,
well,
obviously people are overdoing it. I don't know if maybe there's a way to like.
That's what I'm saying. It's tough because like, especially with combat sports, you're not playing a game. That's the issue, right?
Yeah.
You have guys juicing their test up. Like the big example that a lot of people use is Vitor Belfort. Back in his heyday, when it was kind of the Wild Wild West in the UFC, the TRT era, TRT Vitor as he's called, I think he head kicked Michael Bisping, or maybe hit him with a left hand and blinded him.
Just knocked his shit off.
Well, yeah, he couldn't. Mike had to have his literal eye removed later on, and it's like, okay, like
just so we're saying now he's too strong.
It's like, yo, you're juiced to the gills. I don't know levels, but off the charts test levels, and going in and fighting a guy. So that's where it becomes a little dangerous in combat sports. Like, dude, the home run era in baseball, Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, Barry Bonds, give me that.
Yeah.
Hit balls fucking 600 feet. I don't give a shit.
Because now we're talking about the safety.
Safety of fighters is a tough issue. So
yeah, I see.
And that's where you're kind of right, though, where you're like, okay, if it's for recovery, I get it. But if it's like you're recovering and then keeping a little bit on there as you continue to get back in, it's a little bit of an issue. So
yeah.
It's tough, man. I'm fully with you, though, for recovery, because you're at the highest level, dude. We pay to watch things that we can't do. I don't pay to watch LeBron with a bum knee and like, let me get this layup off. I pay to watch LeBron at 38 still doing what he's doing, fadeaways and stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
I get it.
It's tough.
I see what you're saying. So it is a little different in the combat sports
because you're
arena.
not playing a game, you know?
So maybe if it was just policed while you're on like fight camp going to fight versus like if you know you're not fighting because you're trying to recover, or you know, maybe there's got
to be some area there where we can have that, but again, there's always going to be people
and then there's gonna have people do it anyways, but you're also gonna have like there's different types of drugs for like different effects too.
EPO versus like
Yeah, and there's drugs that make you like your oxygen capacity way higher.
Right.
And it's like, what if the other guy that you're fighting just doesn't know enough? Because his team don't know enough, but you know enough, and you're just out there like a fucking, you got wind like a horse.
Yeah,
and
dog,
you're just
keep
like,
going.
I can do this all
Like,
day.
this guy's not getting tired, and there's already guys like that in the UFC. Just imagine, you know what I'm saying?
Maybe
like
they're
Colby
doing
Covington. If, like, well, who knows? But imagine a guy like Colby Covington decides he wants to
More
get on
wind.
that. It's like, oh my god, you know.
Fuck. So I see what you're saying. In the combat sports, it is a little bit more
But
dicey.
I don't. But it's hard though, because I do want to come out and say I support it for guys having these catastrophic injuries, being able to, because bro, who else is having, you know, again, we talk about the NBA. When these guys tear an ACL or something, I'm sure they're giving a little something to them to help recover.
Of course.
Got to be for the UFC as well. So it's a fine line, but we'll see. I do think it's a net benefit for the fighters, though.
So you think the USADA leaving is a good thing, just more so from the overreach?
I think so. The overreach was a big deal, and it was cutting guys' careers off. And let's be honest, even if you're in the UFC, you're not making NFL money, you're not making NBA money. So, bro, those 3 to 6 to 8 fights, life changing.
Do you think that them being gone though is going to just encourage more people to experiment?
I'm sure, at least early on, before there's like a set protocol for what they're going to do. I don't know. The UFC came out and said who they were going to partner with. So I don't think it's going to be a drastic change in the policies, because they're keeping the guy Jeff Nowitzki, who's kind of oversaw that. He's staying on with the UFC. So
they're still planning to keep drug testing in there.
Of course. Yeah. But I just don't know. Hopefully there's a little bit more of a leeway with this whole, you know, what you're testing for and what really is making a benefit versus net gain or net loss in fighter ability versus just being, okay, you're on weed, sorry, 2 years, hold that. Nick Diaz is the big example of that. Nick Diaz had a whereabouts issue and also was on marijuana, tested, and broke the whereabouts. They gave him 2 to 3 years, and it was like, bro.
Yeah, it kind of ended the fucking...
In his prime. It's like,
ended the fucking career.
Nice. Yeah, and then he comes back and looks like he looks, you know, what was it, I guess a year ago, and it's like, well... Look what you did. Nice, USADA.
Yeah, I'm supposed to get him on the pod to talk to him as well. That should be
got really, a dope story, man.
Really cool.
Dope story.
So you're a big UFC guy, mainly, yeah?
Yep.
Are you excited for the fights coming up?
100%, dude.
Yeah.
Saturday, what?
Yeah.
Switched up the card, too. You could argue a better card.
Yeah.
You know?
Volk's one of my favorite fighters, man.
He's got some of the most impenetrable defense. Adjusts on the fly well. Grappling's good. Got Craig Jones, one of the best grapplers in the world, on his team now. Already went the distance with Makhachev. Already people thinking he beat him. Problem is, we're on 10 days' notice.
Bro, listen, I think it's one of those things like when he was talking about Sean just kind of winning, however he won, and being like, yo, some things are just like, the stories are just written that way.
Yeah.
I feel like he's going to win this fight.
Really?
I really feel like he's... Yeah, man, like...
It's not... Look,
it's not... Do you think Islam's going to win?
It's,
bro,
10 days. That's the reason.
I don't even care. They're both obviously incredible fucking fighters.
And he's coming off surgery, which people don't... I don't know if people know that.
Surgery on?
His arm. Something happened with his arm after the... after his last fight.
Oh,
after
fuck.
Rodriguez fight. But it was a minor surgery. Super minor.
Dude, I think he's going to win, man. He's such a fucking savage. I remember we interviewed him in Dubai. He's so fucking cool. He's so smart. IQ incredible. Like, especially fight IQ. But this guy's just like... I don't know, because the last fight, I remember thinking like, he almost fucking got his ass.
There was 2 things that stuck out in that fight. It was Islam's striking ability that surprised Volk, and Volk's grappling ability that surprised Islam. There's no surprises now.
Yeah.
So again, on an even playing field, they both know their strengths, weaknesses. They've both been in there 5 rounds.
It's just 10 days.
It's 10 days. That's the issue. That's the worry. Is like, was he in as good a shape as he could have been? Was the camp? You know, there was no camp, so how much had he trained? So,
yeah.
And Islam was in camp for another fighter, so
yeah,
tough.
Dude, I'm really excited for this one.
What about the co-main though? You saw that?
God, yeah, all of them.
Kamaru Usman, stepping in on 9 days. Hamzat Chimaev, the freaking boogeyman that everybody's saying is the next step up.
Woo. How do you think that's gonna go?
It depends. Kamaru Usman always looks like he's in great shape. Sometimes Hamzat Chimaev trades a little bit more with his striking than you would think he should for as high-level grappler as he is. He's kind of one of those fuck it guys.
Yeah,
like,
he likes
I want to bite down and throw. You know what I mean? And that's sometimes the detriment of grapplers is they think they're boxers. They want to become, you know what I'm saying? Versus sticking with what they know. It's called father's plan, right? Habib's dad famously, anytime Habib wanted to get, crazy with the hands, he'd be like, no, father's plan, grapple.
Just win. And how you know how to win, yeah.
That's as a championship fighter like Kamaru Usman is, that might be the difference maker for him if he's going to win. Is like, bro, I've been here. You know what I'm saying? I've been in these situations. I know how to get you out of your comfort zone, how to get you out of your game
How
plan.
tough do you think it is for these fighters to come back after like a loss and some time to come back and like really be sharp?
It's tough because if you're Kamaru Usman, you'd been at the top of the game for forever. You know what I'm saying? You were in the conversation of being, if not the best, one of the best, 170 years ever.
Yeah.
Beating everyone, lapping the division, and all of a sudden Leon Edwards beat you twice.
Yeah.
Confidence is a
fucking
motherfucker,
tough,
man. Confidence is a motherfucker. And now you're going to 85. You kind of need this one to stay at the top of the mountain there. You're 35, I think 36.
Yeah.
Young, hungry bull coming up. On 3 rounds, 10 days notice. It all writes itself to be Khamzat Chimaev victory, but we'll see.
Yeah. Fuck. And then obviously, what is it? What month are they fighting? Bones and
Late November?
yeah.
Late November?
Stipe?
Yeah.
I know obviously I know who I'm betting on. I think we all know who we're betting on. Do you think that fight surprises anyone? Do you think it surprises me? Because obviously I'm going John.
Potentially. I mean, Stipe's a decent enough grappler.
Dude,
but it's John Jones.
He's
It's John Jones.
He's the best ever.
He's the best ever. And Stipe coming off a loss. Is it a loss or 2 losses? I'm not sure. But coming off a loss, I think 3 years out now. It's been so long since he's fought. He's 41, I think 42 about to be. You got to go with Jones. Smart money says Jones. Because while Stipe's a good grappler, John Jones is a phenomenal grappler.
John Jones is good at everything.
His boxing leaves a little to be desired.
Yeah,
but
a little.
We're very like nitpicky when we're talking about what John
Bro,
can't do because he is the best regardless. I
He's
know
the GOAT, bro.
He's the GOAT. And you saw him, he was like, I survived USADA. I was on Twitter the other day. I was like, dog, you can't take it from him now. But yeah, dude, John will probably beat Stipe. He'll get clipped if it happens the other way and then probably retire.
Yeah, I think it's it for him too.
Because if Francis was still in the UFC, that's the fucking mega fight. But of course, we don't get
Yeah.
that. Of course. If
Yeah.
not for that, there's really nothing
How
else
do you
we
think
know.
that fight would go? I still feel like John Jones would
John
beat that.
wins. John beats Francis, in my opinion. He
Yeah.
beats Francis. Because what Francis does very well, John has the best counter for, and it's grappling, man.
Yeah.
And Stipe's grappling saved him in the first Francis fight, but again, there's levels to this shit, and John is levels on everyone, and he's fast. Even at that weight, he put the weight on right. Took a couple of years off.
That guy's incredible, man.
People going into that fight, you're talking about Cyril Gane, right? And John.
Yeah. Oh my
Like,
god.
oh, Cyril, he's the best striker John will ever see and has ever seen. 30 seconds in, he takes him down. Arm in, guillotine, done. John was like, yo, and this is how sinister John Jones can be, man. And this is what makes him a bad motherfucker. He's like, yo, I heard his neck pop a couple times. I thought I'd give him a chiropractic adjustment. I was like, oh.
Yeah, the real question is who wins in a street fight, John Jones
Don't do this to me,
John
bro.
Jones or Bradley Martyn in a
Jones or
street fight?
Bradley Martyn.
I mean, bro, that's a no-brainer, obviously. Dude, how much does John Jones weigh?
Now?
Yeah.
He's like 238,
Yeah,
240.
I got like 30 pounds on him.
Dog, he would pick you up on one leg. And Joe Rogan said that you could hit someone with the earth?
Yeah.
That is what he would do to you.
Yeah.
He would hit you with the earth, dog.
Bro, that's... Dude.
Hey, dude, you've done a great job with that, by the way.
I appreciate
That's
it.
phenomenal, dude.
Yeah, I loved how it permeated like the whole industry and like random interviewers were asking random people.
Yeah, about
like,
you.
so crazy.
Fantastic. I love the best answer though was when you had Cheeto in here. It was phenomenal.
Yeah.
He's like, I would open you up and play with your guts.
Yeah,
dog.
fuck,
and he's
dude.
like that though. That's the
Dude,
difference.
I
like
really
that.
enjoyed interviewing that guy. I did not know that he was like that.
Fantastic
Not necessarily
guy.
his answer, but everything about the way he was talking about the way his work ethic, the way he eats, how he treats his body. Everything was crazy. to me.
Fantastic guy.
What do you think's going to happen if because I think that fight, I don't know if it's slated. In fact, I don't believe it is
Not
guaranteed
yet.
or slated. But them Cheeto versus
Him and
Sugar
Sean?
Sean.
The problem with Cheeto that's gone on for the last couple of fights is how slow he starts. And he's always kind of been a slow starter, but against a guy like Sean, and we saw the first fight, I don't want to call it a freak accident because it's not. He kicked him, low kicked him, hit him in the perennial nerve, right?
Yeah,
Sean
dipped
got
his
drop
shit,
foot,
yeah.
and then he finished him. That's how fights go. It's a fight. There is no fluke, whatever. That's a fight. He did something, your body reacted. That being said, I don't know if that scenario happens again, so you have to get started quicker. This is what Cheeto's had an issue with the Corey Sandhagens and some of those young guys of that division. He's just not a quick starter, and he gets behind on these cards in a 5-rounder.
When you say behind, do you mean behind? Just like behind?
Guys
on
are
points?
winning rounds.
Okay.
Winning rounds, and it's not necessarily that he's rocked or getting beat up. He's a tough motherfucker. You talk to him.
Yeah.
That guy's game. He's going to be there. Great jiu-jitsu, great grappling as well. He's going to be there. But on the cards, if you're losing early, to make up that ground as not a big-time volume puncher, it's going to be tough, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's the only issue is if Sean gets out early, and Sean has got great kicks, he's got great striking, he's got great distance management, control, walked Aljo onto that shot. If Sean gets started early, it's going to be tough to come back from.
What do you think about all the Sean hate, just in general?
I don't get it. I don't understand it. What would you hate about a guy like that? Is it that he talks? Is it that he?
And I don't mean necessarily from the people. I just mean from the other fighters in the division.
That's what I'm saying. I don't get it. Like
yeah.
he works just as hard as you guys work. Okay, he didn't deserve the Aljo fight in your opinion. Okay, well that's fine. But when he goes and beats Aljo, you can't really say anything after that.
Yeah.
And if you're like, oh well, you should defend against Merab. Why is Merab the guy? You're going to reward Merab for ducking the fight with Aljo because he's his best friend? We're going to reward that? Because that's what kind of happened in that division is Merab was like, I'm not fighting Aljo. When he's the number one guy and picking off everybody else trying to fight Aljo. You know what I'm saying?
What you're saying, yeah.
Like he goes and picks off Piotr Jan by, running him into the fence 20 times and failing takedowns, and does the same thing with Jose Aldo, and all of a sudden all the contenders that you want to see with Aljo, they're not there because Merab's beating him, and he's like, I'm not fighting my friend.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing. So it's like, does the UFC reward that kind of behavior if you're not going to accept fights that they put in front of you? So I don't mind the Cheeto fight. I don't mind Sean being like, Merab, whatever. Let me do this first. Like, I don't mind.
Yeah. Who do you think he fights if he fights Cheeto?
If he beats Cheeto and Aljo in that same time frame comes back, gets a win, I'd like to see that as a rematch. I wouldn't mind that.
Aljo again?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, because
Or
when I
Merab.
interviewed Aljo was like certain. He's like, he was trying to put on a show, so he overstepped.
All right, guys, quick approach for the podcast. Lucy, check this out. Lucy makes tobacco-free nicotine. Honestly, the reason why I've ever tried this, the reason why I've ever used this product is because I like the nootropic benefits of it. The reason why I like Lucy specifically is because the flavors are good. Mango's hands down one of my favorite flavors. But as far as like the benefits of it, it's going to help you be a little bit more relaxed, going to help you think a little bit more clearer, and just feel more focused in general. Something I like to use if I'm like maybe for a podcast, or if I feel like a little bit like lower energy because I'm like, also somewhat trying not to be caffeine dependent. It's really beneficial for me to throw a little bit of the pouches in there. It's super easy. But yeah, if you guys want to try it, check it out. Go to lucy.co/RAWTALK and use code RAWTALK to get 20% off your first order. All right, now again, that's lucy.co/RAWTALK. Put in code RAWTALK to get 20% off your first order. Plus they have a free shipping and return policy if you don't like it. Now, here comes the fine print. Okay, this is very important. Lucy products are only for adults of legal age, and every order is age verified. Warning, the product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. So if you guys want, at your own risk, let's get back into this podcast.
That in his defense, that may have been the case, but it doesn't necessarily mean, well, I just get my rematch. You know what I'm
No,
saying?
of course not. Of course not.
But
yeah.
Aljo going into that fight, I picked Aljo. I was like, bro, because you pick percentages. You're like, everything says Aljo should be able to grapple Sean, and Sean shouldn't be able to get off his back if he gets to him. And even the way that Aljo enters, he didn't usually do that, right? Where he has a long jab and then just loops an overhand. Here's my chin. And Sean, cool, hold that one.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So at that moment, it was like, it's like we talk about with even the comparison with Conor McGregor. Like you said, there's some things where you just have that manifestation of what is going to happen. And even Sean was like, I had a bad camp, but I just knew, you know what I'm saying? I knew I could walk him onto one. That's what happened.
Fuck, I want to see Sean at full health too, man.
That's what I'm saying. That's another thing that's so tough about MMA is like you're getting these championship fights where guys go through grueling camps.
Oh, they're fucking injured.
And they're
Motherfuckers
just,
are injured.
Oh, I got a broken arm. It's like, what? You're in there just moving around like, oh, dude, my toe was fucked up. Like,
Well, that's why I love the fucking UFC though, man.
Yeah.
Because it's so like there's
Dogs.
Yeah, there's just
Dogs.
so much that goes into that, and just like the preparation, everything, man.
Yeah.
So much respect for those guys. I mean,
When
like
you-
in the
when-
street though, I'd fuck
I was
them
going
all
to say,
up,
when
but,
you
like,
getting in and fighting,
you know what
bro?
I'm saying?
What's,
Dude,
what's the deal?
I would
I
love
know
to.
everyone asks you, but I genuinely want to know, what are you going to fight?
Dude, I wanted to fight fucking Logan in MMA, man, because he ran his mouth about me on that pod.
That's crazy. Y'all, I don't know the story. Y'all were boys at some point.
No, I mean, I'm
y'all
not
know
not.
him,
I don't.
like, whatever.
He was always cool with me. He's always nice.
Yeah,
like,
word.
but he just did that shit on the podcast, obviously just to promote his fight. Like he said it in the fight, like in the podcast about to promote my upcoming fight.
I was gonna say
spar me.
both y'all were kind of doing the social media thing, and it's like y'all know the game, so y'all. I thought y'all were working, like kind of pro wrestling style working. I thought,
Yeah, well,
this
I
will
didn't.
work.
I didn't. I was. What happened was I did the interview with Nate Diaz,
Yeah.
and I was talking about how like, yo, I want to see Nate meme Jake, his brother, obviously, and just because like no one's done it,
Right.
Obviously, and like I think that shit's funny because he's memed so many people,
Right.
and then he took that as some sort of disrespect where it's like, and he gets on the internet, but it's like you clearly did this to promote your fight, and he even said it to promote my fight. Come spar me, but it's also like where are we? We're like at the end of the day, I'm just also conversating about these things that are
I was gonna
promoting
say
all
y'all are
this
doing
shit.
the same game.
So that's what I'm saying. It's
Yeah.
like, but to come out and the thing that bothered me, what he said, he said that I'm just getting lame. Where it's like, if you want to say, oh, I disrespect your brother, whatever, fine. Even though like, you know, there's a lot of things I could say in regards to that, like how he disrespects his brother and these business relationships. all that shit. It is what
You
it
could
is,
go down
right?
the rabbit hole, right?
So I'm not here for that. But like to say that I'm like getting lame is like, bro, what the fuck? What? Like you also, if you really had a problem with what I said, you could always contact me. You got my phone number.
Right,
But you got on the internet to promote your fight.
Right.
And then to try to sun me. And then you guys sent Mike Perry at me. And at the time I didn't know who the fuck he was. And it's like, so Logan never responded to me when I said, yo, pull up outside my gym. I'll just fight you out here. I don't care about cameras.
Yeah.
And then Jake responded like, fight Mike Perry for $1 million. Like, I don't give a fuck about it. I don't even care about the money.
It was just personal at that point.
It was personal because it's just like, don't disrespect my character like I'm getting lame.
yeah, facts.
So at the end of the day, like where there was no money involved,
Yeah.
I would just do it on the street. I don't care. No money, no cameras. I don't give a fuck.
Gee.
So it's like if I was able to train for something, that's something I'd like to train for.
Straight MMA.
Yeah.
None of this boxing.
No,
straight
fuck
MMA.
boxing, man.
Okay. Here's the thing, though. You know that no influencer is doing MMA with you. Nobody.
Why?
The risk of injury, dog. That sport is so much more like deadly. I hate to use that word, but it kind of makes sense in this case. You
Yeah,
have
but
guys
like-
that don't know what they're doing, participating in a full-on fight.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's a little bit more sketchy. Guys will be more okay
Sounds
with
dope,
putting,
though.
No, that's what I'm saying.
That sounds fucking awesome.
You're ready to go, but how many more guys, especially at your weight too? Like who?
Yeah. Well, I'm willing to come down, you know?
How much could you come down though?
I think I could come if I just train strictly fighting
Yeah.
in like train through the camp, like just for
yeah.
that, I could probably come down 15, 20
Okay.
for
I
sure.
still don't know.
Cut some water weight,
Yeah.
maybe 25.
But then you ain't 260.
Yeah, no, I don't care.
But that's, you know, that's a superpower.
Because then if I get my hands on him at
That's what
230, I'm
saying.
fucked, dude.
Nah, bro, you ain't 260 at 35. It's a big deal.
Could you
though.
imagine? Just lose like literally the minute I pass
259
260,
is
I
done.
just lose my superpowers.
Bro, you're like Hercules without the
Dude,
deal,
you know the best
what
part
I'm
about that meme was like I saw completely unrelated things to fighting. That was like talking about like animals were fighting each other, like meme, like, and they're like, yeah, but the bear's not 260 though. Like, just the dumbest shit. I saw things like talking about other fights, like John Jones and this stuff, and people are like, yeah, he's not 260. Bro, it's so stupid.
You got your mark on the internet now, though,
so
dog. It's like with me. I don't know if you've seen. It's become like a little meme where I break down boxing. I do a lot of stuff. Sometimes it'll be like 2 seconds of footage, 3 seconds, and because sometimes that's all I have to work with, I will do a little breakdown on it. So anything that happens now, it's like, oh, at Wade Plem, time to break it down, and it's like 1 second of someone like looking a certain way. It's like, oh, breakdown time.
That was
everything all the time now. Every single day on Twitter.
The internet's fun, man.
I love it.
It's a lot of fun.
Twitter's one of my favorite social medias. Love it.
Me too, by the way.
Love it.
I love also Snapchat because Snapchat's the best fucking app on the
there you
planet. But Twitter is fucking incredible. It's one I probably use the most often because
Yep.
news, everything.
Yep.
Can become a little toxic sometimes, but in regards to like social media, has your perspective on like you within it changed since you've been doing it? Like what you thought it was going to be like versus what it is now?
I think it all changed. I think it all kind of changed around that time where I was going through the drama with Misfits for sure.
So what really happened there? Like, does KSI just suck or?
No.
Okay.
I had never had a personal issue. So to make a long story short, I had, like I said, some differing opinions on camera and behind the scenes with them. Like I knew the promoter, fairly well enough to contact him. And they came with the tag team thing. And I was like, hey man, I'm going to go on camera and talk about this because I don't know if I agree with the safety of it. Like, I don't know yet, but I'm going to go on camera and talk about it, just letting you know. And went and did that.
What did they say to that? Did they say, okay?
He said, hey, let me call you and let me, make sure that you understand before you do that. We talked and I still had some questions about it, but I reserved, going out and be like, fuck all this. And I was just like, hey, I don't know if I agree with the safety of it. Let's maybe I need to just see it. Let me just see it, and then I'll have my opinion. And I saw it, and I was like, okay, they do okay. But I also just had my own opinions on things like pay-per-view sales, and that was the big one. I was on one of my videos reacting to Jake on Logan's podcast saying that he thought that KSI wasn't a big draw and that he and Tommy in the rematch would sell more than KSI and Jake. And at the time, we were so far apart from even having a KSI and Jake fight. And I'm like, bro, it's been 5 years. Is this thing ever going to happen? And I just went, you know what? I don't know that I can disagree with him. I don't know that I can disagree with what Jake just said. I don't know. And from that video, about 30 minutes after it goes public, I'm in a Twitter space talking with people, hey, what's going on? And I see KSI get on Twitter going, fuck this guy Wade and everything he stands for. This fucking doesn't know boxing, all this. And I'm thinking it's like a
wait,
joke?
because you said that you don't think that that'd be a bigger draw?
I said that I couldn't.
Like you might agree with Jake.
I was like, I don't know that I can disagree with him.
So because you were agreeing with Jake.
That, and then they had said it was some other stuff behind the scenes. Like I had I'm not going to promote it because I know you got your thing here, but I have an energy drink that I partnered with.
Yeah.
Didn't promote it on their stuff at all. Promoted it on my own Twitter because it's mine. You know what I'm saying? And everyone on their shows with it. And then I'm trying to think back now. I guess just like I said, maybe just my outward opinions that weren't necessarily aligned with the company that were just mine, but I wasn't doing that on company time. I was doing that on my own time, on my own channel, which is,
Did you sign agreement saying that you have to? Okay.
Never.
Well,
So I think it was their thinking of like, oh, you're a company guy. And I was like, well, I'm not going to just be that. I have a community that values what I say because I'm real with them. I'm going to keep doing that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not conforming for nobody. And I get where that can be a little bit of an issue, but anyway, it kind of hit me like a brick wall. So I'm in the middle of it. KSI says that, and then the promoter
basically says what? He says, fuck you and what you stand for?
Yeah, on Twitter, he kind of tweeted it out, and I was
nice.
like, okay, didn't know this is where we're going. And he'll say now, and he since apologized, like that was a little bit of an outburst.
Okay.
But at the time, I'm going through it, and the community on social media stood up for your boy. Like even KSI's community was like, yo, this is too far. Y'all. And then I got fired publicly by them too as well. They were like, go have fun on Kingpin, which was kind of the meme that came out of that. Okay. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Which
you're never getting paid there.
No, well, I was supposed to make a lot more money than I did make over there, but whatever, bro. But yeah, long story short, that was where I'd seen, the good side of social media, like the support that I never thought. I was like, whoa, this is crazy. You know what I'm saying? And then I'd also seen the other side of it where as time goes on, the fandom will flip-flop from time to time. And if I am consistent with what I say, regardless if it's within the narrative or not, if I'm opinionated still and they don't like it, there are going to be times where that pushback happens. And I've seen that as well. So I would say those two instances I've seen social media be really friendly and also really not. So
do you like it?
Yeah. I think it's a good way to highlight consistency, if that makes sense. Like,
yeah.
Regardless, in the face of whatever, if you can stand on 10 toes and be yourself in those moments, I think it shines through. So
yeah. Well, I also think that's what makes creators successful.
Yeah.
That literal concept.
Yeah.
Being yourself is the biggest thing. Cause like I get asked all the time. I've talked about this plenty of times when people, how do you be successful at this and at that? It's like, dude, everyone's doing it, right? Cause everyone says, oh, everyone does it. It's so saturated. And it is, especially at this point.
Yeah.
The only way to really truly be successful in any industry at anything is like put your true genuine spin on it and keep it consistent.
Have to. And the thing is too, like, I also understand now, if it would have been handled a different way, I can understand where they were coming from. And they did, the promoter did tell me, a couple different times, he's like, hey, you can't be saying these things. And I'm like, I can't not say these things. You know what I'm saying?
Why was he justifying you not being able to say the things though?
I think because it in his mind, probably he was like, oh, it's bad for business. And I'm like, I'm not going to toot my own horn. I'm just a commentator, but I think the numbers that I bring you guys and the conversations that I bring about what your fights are doing create far more business than any damage I could do by having an opinion that isn't misfits. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, it's also lame. Like, what do you want to? You going to be a part of something where you can only say like this side's right every single time? Again, it's fucking stupid.
I think it was just I don't think they wanted me to be like, yeah, everything there, but again, it was just I think being in that environment, they wanted a misfits guy. They wanted
but
a face.
I feel like the job of any commentator is to be unbiased as much as you can.
I mean, that's what I try to do. You know what I mean? But you're dealing with influencer boxing and any sport that I guess has some sort of invested interest like that. There's going to be some emotion there. But what I will say is, since that time, I've had a pretty decent relationship with the promoter, and while I can understand where they were coming from, I still maybe don't understand why I had to be ousted.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing their thing. I'm doing mine. Fair play to them. And I think they're doing a great job. Like, you saw the event. It was fantastic.
So now you work with Jake Paul's company.
Yeah, I'm with The Zone still, but they have partnership with Most Valuable Promotions and Most Valuable Prospects, and I do some commentary on it's like Jake has the up-and-coming pro boxers, not necessarily influencer, but legitimate up-and-coming potential world champion boxers on there. And I'm actually, October 27th, I'm going back and doing that for them. So they've done 4 shows this year. I've done all 4 of them.
Where's that event at?
They're down in Orlando. Me, Paulie Malignaggi, which is dope to work with Paulie Malignaggi, legend in the sport of boxing, 2-time world champ. And Dan Canobio, shout out Dan. We're going to be doing some stuff at it's the Caribe Royale Hotel.
So this is like legit boxing. Mm-hmm. It's not.
Yeah, world champion kind of level boxing. I mean, I called the Nate Diaz Jake fight as well.
So I'm curious. This company, Most Valuable Promotions, obviously it's not just Jake. There's other people involved.
Yep.
And that's like his promotional aspect of his business.
It's his promotional. He's like the co-founder. Him and I'm not sure the other co-founder wants to be named, but
they're focusing on. I'm assuming they have a relationship with the PFL involved in that as well.
Yeah,
and then a relationship with the boxing.
Yep. So he has his hand kind of in different parts of combat.
Smart guy, super smart.
Yep.
I always find it funny too when like he'll like shit on Dana White and fighters pay and all this kind of stuff.
I'm with him on it though, man.
Are you?
I'm with him on it
but he also does it because it's also a grab.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
Because he's taking advantage of.
Danny's the guy. UFC's the sport,
Yep.
and it's like, oh, let me leverage and talk about that, and like so we're doing this here type thing.
Yep.
Which, I mean, I guess that's the fucking world.
To be fair, Jake was doing that before he was with PFL. He was talking that stuff to Dana like that beforehand, but
he was also building that company still then.
He was also still trying to be like, I'm sure, hey, let's get some attention on us for what we are doing and what they're not.
Right.
And I don't even mind that. Like, if you have, and I've seen people be like, well, Jake's not doing it with the right intentions. He's doing it for this, that. I don't care. Who cares about the intent? As long as it gets fighters more pay, don't care.
Yeah.
I truly don't. Like, the CBA at the UFC is trash. I don't care what people say about run your company and do it better. It's trash. 18% of the total bargaining for fighters is garbage.
What do you think it should be?
At least somewhere up in the 30s. Like, I understand not being a 50-50 split. I get that.
Yeah.
Because you're not a traditional league. It's a little bit more individual. And again, fighters have to earn that right to be paid a certain threshold. I get all that. But starting minimum fighter pay could easily be around that. Jake said 50K. Could easily be around that. Use the Contender Series as a way to vet who you want in the UFC.
Do you think it's going to change at all?
No. Not until the UFC fighters unionize. And that's probably not going to happen for a long time.
What could make that happen?
Guys stop acting like individuals and come together.
Oh, that's not going to happen. Yeah, that's not going to happen. That's like trying.
It's like dudes that you have to potentially go in and fight working with you in a bunch of egos in one sport. Whereas football and basketball, you're competing during the season, but in the off season, it's you guys. You're the players coming together versus the man. You know what I'm saying? So it's a different sport.
Yeah, that's damn. So
like.
Go
Boxing
ahead.
did it with the Ali Act. The U.S. government got involved. So it's like you had a third party to kind of help with the Ali Act. So it's like that helps a lot. But at the same time, boxing still had to come together. Fighters still had to come together, have a face to represent. I think no one wants to be that face for the UFC. To say, I'm going to step up against Dana White, especially in the UFC.
Yeah.
You do that, and all of a sudden, those big fights ain't coming your way, probably, right? Like if Conor McGregor steps up, he could do it. Because he's such a big face and because he doesn't need it anymore. But if he does, then, he's probably not getting another fight against Mike Chandler and all this. And
yeah.
So.
Fuck, it's crazy how that works. Damn.
When you got one guy at the top, it's,
Yeah.
How's it going to be?
I mean, there is also something to say about the platform itself is also so massive that it does add a lot of benefit that wouldn't necessarily be included in the fighters' pay. And I know there's fighters who, I don't know how many, because I don't know the details of this, but there are fighters who are able to leverage the popularity that they do receive from the UFC
for sure
to get money that is not through the UFC.
Exactly.
So there is like some, you know, for Dana's, I don't know, argument, I actually want to talk to him about this. I'd love to interview him, but there are like those sort of intangibles that become tangible because of the actual.
Right. And I have nothing against those guys that are go-getters that are going to do it. And Dana pointing those guys out as the guys to be like, look, you can do it, of course, but not everyone as a baseline is going to have that, right? And that's the problem, is like you're dealing with the stars of the industry. You can be a star. Not everyone's Ronda Rousey. Not everyone's Conor McGregor. You know, not everyone can fake it till they make it with the outside of the cage stuff. And there's few examples of guys being able to get over by just fighting. George St. Pierre, Habib. You know, those guys can get over, but there's some guys that are fantastic, best in the world fighters that aren't going to draw a dime.
They just need to learn how to use social media.
No one cares, you know what I'm saying? And that's a hard truth, but you could be out here smoking everyone, but until you get to that boom title fight, whatever, you could be making, you know, I don't want to say pennies, but you could be making far less than you maybe should be.
I see
for the level
saying,
of fighter you are. You know what I'm saying? Just because that pay-per-view money ain't coming in, or maybe you're not the draw.
And the only way for the change is someone's got to step up and do it. Yeah.
Someone's got to take that hit, and it's like any industry though, right? Your pioneers aren't the ones that are going to be the ones benefiting from that first step. They're the ones that create the motion, and everybody else benefits from it. And that's the tough part. Who wants to be the one that takes the hit?
Yeah, then everyone benefits from it.
Yeah.
Fuck, dude.
Yeah, man.
So, would you ever do any like fighting?
I think so. I feel very disrespectful saying I want to fight you, or this would be the guy I would fight, whatever, when I'm not training and I'm not doing it. I feel like it's very disrespectful to other influencers that are doing it.
Yeah.
To be like, oh, let me just pick and choose who I want to fight. I'm a commentator, dog. At the end of the day, like I would do it, but I feel like my place is
boxing or MMA
right now. Boxing, dog. I'm not no shot. I'm getting it. This is what I said. I'm smart enough to know, maybe a little too smart to be like, yeah, let me go in and just, you know what I'm saying, Muay Thai, whatever. No, dude. Way too much risk there for me. Way too much. I want to be able to still have this. Right now it's not because my voice is dead, but the vocal box to go in and call some of the greatest fights ever. That's what I want to do. But I wouldn't be opposed to it if the right situation came down the line, for sure.
Yeah. So evolution of what you're doing and how you do it, like the commentating in that space in general.
Yeah.
Who's the best at it right now?
Man, that's a tough.
Who's the most
question.
popular one?
Well, the best in the game right now, in my opinion,
besides Joe Rogan, obviously.
Rogan's so there's different positions, right?
Yeah.
Rogan's the color commentary guy. In other words, he adds color to the broadcast. Like if you and I are doing a broadcast and I'm welcome in, folks, tonight we have a great night of fights. Let me send it to my, whoever's with me. You'd be the color guy. I'd be leading the broadcast as the play-by-play. The play-by-play best guy in the world right now. Oh, see, I'm gonna make enemies, dude.
Yeah,
because I got friends in the industry. Shout out Todd Grisham. Shout out, everybody I've worked with. It's John Anik. Here. It's John Anik. He's the best. The guy for the UFC. He's the best. Fantastic, seamless in and out production. Leads the broadcast. Throws the freaking alley oops for Joe and DC and everybody to dunk questions on. He's the best. But as far as color commentary, I would say Joe's up there, of course. Paul Felder, solid on the boxing side.
So what makes color the guy who's like, oh my God, like that guy?
You need that. You got to have some emotion, and that's where Joe excels,
Yeah.
But it's also adding very important points that an audience that isn't maybe as well versed as you are can understand. It's almost, I hate saying the word dumbing down because that's not what you do.
I see what you're saying.
But you have to have some way of translating what's happening that's very complex into layman's terms. You know what I'm saying?
No, absolutely.
And that's where I think I would love to do it. The problem is those spots are diminishing. The Joe Rogans are fading away because fighters are now taking those roles. And who more accurate than a fighter to comment on what's happening currently in a fight if you have the ability? And I would love to do that, but more likely I'd probably go into the play-by-play side of things.
Yeah. And so how do you think you like evolve, or you just keep doing what you're doing in your lane and grow your like?
I'm trying to, man. Yeah.
Or do you want to like get picked up by?
Oh yeah, for sure. At some point, I would love. And here I am talking again. This is the problem that we talked about with me and Misfits. Me talking so openly about issues that against massive companies like the UFC or anybody else is probably going to hinder that. Just like me talking openly about the KSI Tommy fight and how I think it's, this or that.
Yeah, but dude, I feel like the world's getting to a point where like yes and no. Like I feel like people are really gravitating towards just like genuine, no bullshit.
I would hope
Because
so.
there's been so much bullshit for so long and so much sugarcoat. I feel like in general, just even in the content space, like I work with some of these fucking streamers who just say the most outlandish, crazy shit.
But those streamers don't got to show up at ESPN on Monday morning. You know what I'm saying?
True.
So it's
but I feel like overall, the world, at least the world, is what they're wanting. It's just more like just truthful shit.
100%.
So there's just
You're
so much
seeing the
bullshit.
turn on YouTube right now.
Yeah.
100%. People are and there's an argument to be made that digital media should embrace it more, because you're seeing guys like Pat McAfee take over ESPN right now. And I don't know how many people are into that kind of the side, but he's running his YouTube show on the 10-1 slot on ESPN. That was the money slot. He's in a tank top talking about Mr. Pfizer with Aaron Rodgers.
Wait, what do you mean? What do you mean digital should embrace it? Because digital is doing it.
Well,
what do you mean
now? But social media and YouTube for a long time has been no bullshit. We can curse. We can just speak our own mind. Currently we don't have to get in the suit and have our little slot. We can talk about whatever the fuck we want to talk about. And people, like you said, rock with that.
Yeah.
For the longest time, ESPN, a Disney company, has been very, I guess, conservative on allowing those type of things to happen, whether it's just cursing or having someone that's just a little bit more of an opinionated person that's more free thinking and not company guy. That's starting to open up more and more and more. Like Pat McAfee, I think, opened the door for everybody.
So you're saying that you're seeing mainstream is starting to open that door more.
A little bit.
Well, that's what I mean. That's my whole point.
A little bit, but at the same time, the fight game is still, I think, a little slow to catch up. Boxing especially, very much suit and tie, Marcus of Queensberry rules, the old-fashioned proper boxing is going to catch up a little longer. But Pat doing it does leave the door open for, like, if he opens the door, I want to run through that motherfucker, that type of deal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So my goal, to answer your question, would be do fucking everything, if that makes sense. Like, it doesn't seem very possible, but I want to work in the UFC. I want to be that next Joe Rogan. I want to work pro boxing. I want to work pro football. I played football for 17 years.
Yeah.
People think I talk about boxing. Football is my shit. I just don't talk about it too much because I fell in love with MMA and boxing.
Well, wasn't that kind of opposite of your ideals then? Because like, wouldn't you want to talk about more of the things that you're?
It was just I got so into the sport that I just started talking about it more and more and more, and got away from the football stuff because I played it so long, and I was like, ah. But now I'm coming back into it and falling back in love with it again.
Yeah.
So I do want on my by the way, breakdown.
Yeah.
Me and Faye Sensei would do that.
So how do you, or how would you say, like, someone who's up and coming and who's like interested in this would become this, or how would
interested in boxing,
commentating?
Commentating.
Yeah. Like what
I
you
took a
do.
non-traditional route, so it's possible. Like a lot of people want to go get the journalism degree. They want to go write for like a newspaper, a website for a couple of years and potentially do it that way. But you got to cut your teeth, man. You have to. Like I was fortunate enough to cut my teeth in front of 10,000 people. It was my first commentating gig. Was in front of 10,000 people.
Fuck.
Yeah, dude. I don't know if you ever heard of Creator Clash.
Yeah,
That was the one. My first one scared me to death. I had to take a high noon and pop it and throw it back
to get
before
the
I got on
anxiety
there.
down.
Just to get it down. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And it wasn't like real boxing where people are periodically showing up. 10,000 for the first fight, going crazy.
Yeah.
Scared the shit out of me, but we did it. But you have to cut your teeth. You have to. It's just like any in the gym or anything else. You have to get your reps. You have to grow steadily and refine your craft. But if you want to do it the way I do it, start a YouTube channel. Get your thoughts out there. Cut your teeth by practicing on camera. That you're literally practicing while you're playing. You know what I'm saying? Every video is a chance to get better. That's the way I look at it. So
Quick interruption for the podcast. Shady Rays, check this out. Listen, I was driving home. I was driving back. It's California. It's like super sunny. Listen, pop the sunglasses on. Honestly, I feel like I'm him. It's incredible. Yeah, Shady Rays, it makes super affordable, super durable. Products are great. If you're looking for some sunglasses, check them out. You will not be disappointed. Like I was not disappointed when I was driving down PCH and I had to put the shades on. I had to put them low. Sometimes I wear them at night too. Sometimes I'm feeling like that. Also, this is a genuine, like real story right now. I actually have like, for some, I guess an eye doctor, like the shape of my pupils is like kind of like that. So I'll get migraines and stuff if I get too much like light in my eyes. So long story short,
sunglasses actually help keep it out. I don't think you guys all have stigmatism, but maybe you just want to look cool. I don't know. All right, so if you go to shadyrays.com, it's 50% off 2 pairs of sunglasses. If you use code RAWTALK right now, code RAWTALK, shadyrays.com. Let's get back into this podcast. And if you don't do it now, then your eyes are going to be too much light in them, like me. Let's get back into the pod. So what was the biggest moment for you that helped you catch steam then? Was it just the whole like...
I would say on the commentary side, it was Creator Clash for sure.
Okay.
The fact that I did well, and it was my first gig, and I was doing play-by-play in my first gig, beside Face Sensei and another massive YouTuber, that's how Misfits got the look. They were like, ooh, this guy he knows his shit, or whatever they saw in me. Took it to DAZN. DAZN said, "Yep, we'll bring him on."
What kind of salaries is that from like that? Like DAZN?
Say it again.
What kind of salaries they?
So what didn't make a thing to do Creator Clash. I did that pro bono. It was a charity event, and I said I honestly was not going to do it. And then my boy Face Sensei, who's now my podcast co-host, was like, "Nah, let's do it. It's going to be a good thing. Trust. It's gonna do well." So I did that one free, and I worked a lot of my life for free. NBA Summer League free. 3 weeks of work, go do it, whatever. So I knew about the value of doing things for free to then have some sort of
resume,
resume, build from it. There was another show called Showstar that I was going to do for free, commentate it, whatever, did all the build up on my YouTube channel. And then I ended up getting a blood clot, but
you got a blood clot?
Yeah, bro. Long story. I got ankle surgery, and from the ankle surgery, I got the blood clot. But had to then blood thinners for 7-8 months, still dealing with issues from it. But then Misfits, and I guess I don't mind talking openly about it now. My contract with DAZN was $4,000 per commentary, and then obviously they'd pay for flight accommodations as well. So, and again, I'm not thinking like it. I'm thinking like a YouTuber. I don't care about. You could pay me $1,500 to do commentary because I'm gonna make my content.
Don't tell them that. Now they're gonna try to
I mean, at the time. Now, you know what I'm saying? That fee going up a little bit.
Yeah, what the fuck?
What I mean? Now
could have paid me $1,500.
We done too many in front of too many people now. You know what I'm saying? You got to hit the line. But no, at the time, it wasn't about the money, and it really still isn't, because my YouTube, I get a chance to grow it by doing these things.
Yeah.
I'd pay for my cameraman to come out. Fuck it. Get on the plane with me. We're making content all week.
Yeah.
I'm doing 5-6 videos on the main channel. I'm doing 3-4 videos.
What are they like, interview style? Like, are you talking to people?
I try to switch it up. We do like a travel vlog style where I'm walking around the city that we're going to have the fights in, talking about the fights.
Yeah.
I started doing the face-to-faces on my own channel. Now they do them on their Misfits channel. Before that ever existed, it was me doing the face-to-face for some of the fighters. And I was pushing them. I was like, please, let me do the face-to-faces. Please, please. And again, we were in the wild
so you're
west.
saying they stole your shit?
I'm not saying they stole.
That's what it sounded like. I'm just saying, like, it sounded like you said they stole your shit.
I'm saying that I think I had an impact on showing what could be done.
Professional.
If you lean into the social media side, right? Because you're working with DAZN, who at the time doesn't necessarily maybe get it yet, because they just started this agreement with Misfits. They're just the first foray into influencer boxing is a 5-year commitment. They did a 5-year contract. Yeah. So they're figuring it out as they go. But I kind of had the ideas of being like, okay, this is what you can do. And if they happen to catch on with that and implement
face-to-faces are fucking great.
They're amazing.
That's like the best thing.
Yes, dude. So I was doing that, some interviews, and then just some breakdowns. Like the open workout would happen. I'd talk about it right after on my channel. I'd be like, this is my first, point of view from being on stage. This is what went down. When Dillon, the first time, came in and threw that coffee at KSI, I was the guy he actually hit. So I'm the one separating it. He got a little Call of Duty collateral. It smacked off me and hit KSI. And I'm sitting there with coffee all over my sweater doing my video.
Just misfired on you, or
no,
what?
So what happened was this is what they, and listen, I'm not going to say I'm the guy for it, but they do need a presence in there more. You know how Logan caught the freaking microphone off his face?
Yeah.
They needed somebody in the middle that's going to be able to, hey, whoa, stop. And fair play to Ariel. I don't blame him getting out of there. Ariel Helwani got out of there, but I'm instinctually, I try to step in and make sure no one gets hurt, because in my mind, it's about the show. Fucking hurt me, cool, whatever.
Yeah.
But don't hurt each other, because the show's got to go on. So I stepped in when KSI and Dillon were going in. I stepped in front of KSI. Boom, coffee off my head. I stepped in front of Greg Hardy and Hasim Rahman Jr. for some reason. Don't know why I did that. I was trying to get between Greg Hardy, who's a 300-pound man, And it was like trying to push this wall.
It's more than 260, bro.
Dude,
Yeah, you ain't,
that guy, you ain't
moving
got
that
a shot
motherfucker.
with that guy.
Nah, I'm fucked, dude.
You know what I'm saying?
260,
He's something
261, I'm done, dude.
Done, dog.
261,
And
that's it. I'm like, yeah.
That's 290, all pro defensive end.
This motherfucker is killing you.
Watch out, bro.
Yeah.
It was like me trying to push a wall. I was like, what am I doing? He just tossed me aside like a baby. I was like, all right, well. But yeah, dude, that's like I said, I don't mind talking about it publicly, but I always looked at the commentary stuff as an opportunity to grow the YouTube and to show my skills on commentary. So it wasn't a money thing with me.
So you really love this commentary shit.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love every bit of it. I love being able to put in words what people feel in moments of history. I look at it that way anyway.
Yeah.
Because
Why do you care so much about that?
I don't know. I think there's a portion of it, and it's funny that I'm saying this now because KSI has made a big thing about legacy. For me, I've always wanted to be remembered as something. I come from a family of, welders essentially in East Tennessee that allow me to do what I do. But my dad, grew up in the town he, was born in. He's going to die in that town. My mom obviously is the same kind of way. She grew up, worked as a welder, then went back to school, got her degree.
Fuck.
Yeah, she's a beast, man. And my mom's my biggest fan, but I always wanted our family name to mean something. My last name, I want it to mean something. I want at one point to be remembered, even if it's not me, my voice to be attached to something that lives on,
Well, what do you think made you feel that way though? Because if you didn't grow up in a circumstance where there was,
I think that failure was something that I shouldn't say it that way, but honestly, is something I grew up in. I remember like Monday mornings when I would have to go to school. My dad would have to go to his welding shift at like 4 a.m. And I remember I'm kind of a light sleeper, and I started to get on a schedule. I would wake up right when he would wake up, and I'd sit and watch into his room while he turned on his bed and sat there and just gave that little like 2 or 3 second kind of like realization that he got to go do a job he fucking hates. You know what I'm saying? Every day. But still, he's got 4 kids, and he just takes that, starts lacing up his boots and getting ready to go.
Yeah.
And I watched that every single day from like 6 to 13 or 14 whenever I started to drive, or 15. And it made me scared to death of being that guy, and also respected him for doing it. Right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to make sure that when you did that, I won't have to for mine. And hopefully I can give back to you for doing it. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, well, that should be the goal, I think.
Yeah.
Just because like that's obviously, like you said, that sacrifice.
Yeah.
He had to sacrifice for you guys. He didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
Specifically when you have that many kids and like you're so locked into what
Yeah.
you're doing.
He's
But
like,
I
bro.
respect the fuck out of that, man. Because like, I can relate, not in that way directly. Obviously, I grew up without a father, but it's like I saw people doing the same, like in a town, they just grow up and they live and they die. Then that's just a cycle. I was like, oh, I just don't want this.
It's not enough. For me, it just wasn't enough, And I watched my mom take odd job after odd job, was a vet's assistant, was a welder, cleaned people's houses, cleaned some of my school teachers' houses. And I knew at the time, I didn't think about it being like an embarrassing thing, like whatever. But I knew my mom didn't want to be doing that.
Yeah.
Like going and cleaning the toilets of the people that were teaching me in school. And it was one of those things where I was like having a blast. Cool, I get to go to the teacher's house, whatever. And I would have to go with her. I remember having to go with her to school. As a 27-year-old woman, she would drive. Me and my brother would sit in the car while she went to class. We're sitting there, again, we're young. We don't know what the fuck, we're playing toys. But she's doing all that, so we don't have to.
Yeah.
So, bro, that if I can be remembered on the big scale, amazing. But more so, if I can have a legacy for my name and my kids to not ever have to go back to that, that's all I want, man.
Yeah, it's fucking. So what do you think allowed you to step out of that? Like, what gave you I mean, obviously you saw that, you grew up in that, you said you knew you didn't want it for yourself, but it's hard for most people. Most people see it, they realize it, but the fear of like stepping out of the norm is holding them there.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people listening to this will probably think like, well, I want to do this or I want to do that.
Yeah.
But, and they'll kind of just regurgitate these reasons why they can't do it because of the circumstances they're in.
Yeah.
What do you think allowed that to be different for you?
I think work ethic got instilled in me pretty quickly. It was one of those do what I say, not what I do. My dad was always so tired from his job and my mom always had 2 or 3 jobs that they couldn't spend a lot of time, doing the things with me that I wanted to do. Like, oh, come play outside, Dad, let's go, like do that. I had brothers, so luckily we all played together, but It wasn't like one of those things where he could do those things actively, but it was always, this is what you're going to be doing. I'm going to drive the car behind you while you're running miles to get ready. It was a lot of football training, you know, physical.
Yeah.
That instilled a lot of work ethic in me. And then my mom, watching her struggle and watching my dad struggle, it was that fear of failure for me. I didn't care about fearing, you know, stepping out because I didn't want to fail.
You didn't want to be in the same position where you felt like
I didn't
you
want to fail. I wanted all the stuff that I'd been told as a kid and as a high schooler. Man, Wade's got so much potential. There's potential. I didn't want to just be potential.
Yeah.
I wanted to succeed on some level.
So it sounded like that in combination with the work ethic involved in sports is what kind of allowed you to feel like I can fucking do it.
Yeah. Dude, I worked for, like I was telling you a second ago, I was in Orange County I moved out when I was 20. I was in Orange County just smacking my head. It was literally like smacking my head against that wall for 7 years trying to figure it out. Because I didn't have my degree, and then I went, here I am, this failure. I think I didn't want to be in my life.
How are you getting by?
I was working 2 jobs. I was working 24-hour fitnesses. They got them all over the place. You know what I'm
Bro,
saying?
I worked at 24 when I lived in Orange County too.
Yeah, bro. So I was working
back when I was 21.
Yes, dude. I was working as the little front desk attendant.
Yeah.
You know how you move up the little operations side, whatever.
Yeah, I was a trainer.
Okay,
I was better than you.
He was way better than
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
You actually had
I was better than you. No.
But that's you know because you worked the company how the monetization works. out
Oh,
there.
bro, I can't tell you how many times like I literally I didn't technically get fired. I got asked to leave that gym, 24-hour fitness on Lemon, in the 91 in Lemon. If anyone knows, it's in Anaheim.
Yeah.
Because I was so good at training and selling training, but I refused to keep selling to people who already purchased.
Yeah.
Because I knew what it was. It was like, yo, like Christmas time, get more sales because they wanted to get
the
these
little
like
packs or
they,
whatever.
they wanted to get these sales done in a certain time so that the fitness manager and the GM of the gym could get like a benefit.
Yeah, they're bonusing off of it.
So I'm like, no, like I'm going to do the work because I know that the work is good and what they get from it, they're going to re-sign when it's right for them to re-sign, not just because you want to hit a quota.
Right.
And I remember having arguments with this guy's name at the time was Chris Long, the GM, and Josh Graves was the fitness manager. I remember, I'll never forget these people. And they were just like, no, more. And I'm like, why?
Yeah.
And I remember I got to the point where they're like, well, you can either like basically quit or get fired.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck this shit.
Fuck
You guys, man. I'll train these people by myself at a fucking park.
Yeah.
But I just didn't like that mentality of like, yo, force these sales.
Right.
And obviously, you know, I've written so much since then, but I think that holding like yourself to those certain values of like, if you're doing the work good and you're doing like, and they're like getting from it, then you don't have to sell someone something. They're going to want to buy it.
Facts.
But I desperately hated working for those companies,
Bro,
man.
I was doing that, and I was doing the graveyard shift. So 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., dog.
Holy
And no
fuck.
one, I don't care
what gym was it?
It's down, well, at the time it was still a sport. Now it's an active. It's in Rancho Santa Margarita. So it's way further south, like past Irvine, a very... Dude,
oh, yeah, he worked at the gym.
You're talking about 2 people in the gym from 10 to 6, and one of them's a weirdo. No offense, but there's one of them that's like, you know what I'm saying, just walking around the gym with doing nothing.
100%.
You know what I'm saying?
Out of 24, yeah.
So you got to be like switched on. You're checking the saunas to make sure no weird stuff's going on in there. You know what I'm saying?
Have a fucking knife on you ready.
Yeah, bro. So I was doing that, and then so here's how my day would go. I would wake up, and I used to work at a golf club near that place as one of the golf cart and club cleaners.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm in the no offense, but the not the skilled labor. Like you're just working hard. Like you don't have to have a degree to do this type of work because I didn't have one. So I'm you know doing these cart cleanings. People around that area got a lot of money, but they're not necessarily the nicest.
Yeah.
And I was like, gotta clean this, whatever. Doing that, get off that job at like 7, go home for like an hour, eat whatever, boom, graveyard shift, 5 days a week, running it.
Fuck.
So then I get a lucky break, like I said, with what happened, but I was doing that for a couple of years. Then finally started actually training. Went and got my NASM certification at the time.
Nice.
But I didn't do it with 24 because, like you said, I started training at-risk kids in Orange County.
How'd you get involved in that?
It was crazy. It was one of those Indeed, posts that the guy had, and I was on Indeed every day just trying to get out of this situation. I'm like,
trying to make money.
Trying to get out of the graveyard shift, whatever.
Respect.
Guy was like, yo, I'm looking for a trainer certified that can work with kids. I have this, opportunity. And so I met the guy and he goes, hey, what we do, I'm not going to name the company, but what we do is we work with kids that are at risk, self-harm issues, attitude issues, drug issues, alcohol, whatever, addiction issues. And we try to rehabilitate. And then, they'll come from all over the country to come here and do this. And I started working with them. And what was crazy? Almost, I would say 95% of the kids that had addiction issues, family issues.
Yeah.
Wasn't anything wrong with the kids themselves. Self-esteem, family, attention, frustrating, stuff like that. And it was crazy through training, watching them through physical fitness, through just accomplishing something, how their mindset would switch. I would have kids, I would come in, they would want to fight me before we started training, like, fuck this guy, this fucking trainer bullshit. I'm going inside. I'm not doing nothing. Like, all right, well, we'll be out here, man. Week after week, he'd start poking his head out because kids are having fun. I'm making it fun for them. They're training. They're getting stronger, faster. I'm doing this. I'm hitting PRs, whatever. He's like, well, all right, I'll try it. But I ain't doing it for more than 10 minutes. I'm going in. You know what I'm saying? 10 minutes in. Great job, so-and-so. Let's go. You know what I'm saying? Perfect form. That's what I like. And kids just leave the program in such a better mind state that they're just normal kids.
You know what I don't understand? I'll never understand how, like, this sort of people encourage working out and people encourage, like, fitness and all this stuff. But, like, I don't understand why it's not just, like, a thing that, like, people, like, have to do.
Right.
Like, for in that younger generation, like, why is that not some sort of, like, mandated thing?
Yeah.
Because it's so fucking essential, I believe, to like in this situation, right? Those kids clearly didn't want to do it because they were like, fuck you. My life's like this.
Yep.
Fuck you. You don't know shit. You don't know me.
Yep.
And I can speak directly from a place where I felt certain ways about my life and where I was at. And as soon as I found the gym, my whole life was better.
Yep.
Like in not right away, but like my ability to like just deal with things. Like, yeah, right away it was like I'm avoiding shit, but the gym was my avoidance. But it gave me, like you said, it gave me something to feel like, oh, I have these like little achievements.
Yep.
That before that I didn't have anything that made me feel good. So it's like, why are we not really encouraging this to like this degree here in the States? It just seems like we don't. I don't know, man. It's like,
it's crazy too, because there was a switch at some point, because you look and you can go back to the 50s, 60s at that time frame, like the physical gym like requirements for just schools, kids were in shape. It wasn't like you were doing like fucking back squats and hack squats and deadlifts and
push-ups and running.
Push-ups, sit-ups, running, pull-ups.
The shit's
Kids
essential
were in
shit.
shape.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yoked, ready to go.
And then they just quit and they're like, fuck it, pharmaceuticals. Pretty much,
Dude,
man.
I don't know how much time we have. I have a story about my whole blood clot situation with pharmaceuticals that I might as well tell people. This is probably the biggest platform. I thought I had some kind of infection. I was freaking out because I'd had this blood clot after surgery. Go through all
that would scare the fuck out of me, bro.
Because
that shit could kill you.
Could kill you.
Yeah.
I noticed it like the day it happened. And the doctor was like, you don't have a blood clot.
How would you know? What do you mean you
I was
noticed
laying
it?
in bed. So first off, it's my own fault. I was editing. By the way, this is, again, that mindset I go through. I'm hard work over everything.
Jacob, listen to this.
You know what I'm saying?
Jacob
hard
said
work
it, he
over
edits.
everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't want to entrust editing to anybody. This is my channel. I know how I speak. I'm going to make sure that everything's perfect. I would be editing sometimes 6 to 8 hours a day.
We got to get Jacob the leg compression things or what? What's going on here?
So what happened was I was like, I can't take time off work because I'm in the middle of this influencer boxing. Everything's going crazy. Fuck it. I'm going to put my boot on that they give you after surgery, crank that bitch so that it's got some compression on it, and just sit there at my desk, do my little calf raises. Shit wasn't enough. I was sitting there for 6 hours a day with that blood just pooling there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not elevating it, not making sure that there was adequate blood flow, probably not hydrating.
Oh, so you
enough.
had an injury.
I had injury, lateral ligament tear in my ankle, had surgery, then was
And
in
then
the
you're
booth.
just stagnant.
Just stagnant.
Oh,
super,
okay.
super, like, I knew better. It was just
Yeah, you
whatever,
fucked up. Bro.
So after the blood clot, I'm on these blood thinners for 6 to 8 months, and then I started getting these random muscle fasciculations and pain, and I'm like, God, what is going on with me? And so I
Fasciculation is like
just like twitching in the muscles.
Cool.
And I'm like, man, is there something going on? Like, whatever. Then I start having some issues that I thought could have been, I don't know, infection. Like, I was starting to have like coming down with coughs a lot and some digestive issues, and turns out it was more probably from the blood clots than anything else and just being inactive. Go to the doctor. Here's ciprofloxacin. Sure, take that for 30 days. I was like, and even me, I know myself. I'm like, I don't know, that doesn't make a lot of sense taking an antibiotic for 30 days.
Bro.
Doc's like, no, yeah, go ahead. Take it for 30 days. Muscle fasciculations get worse. I'm talking to the point where I'm like sitting here and it's my whole calf is, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So ended up, you know, I ended up taking care of it after. But that's the craziest thing to me is watching how easy and liberal doctors are with these antibiotics and pharmaceuticals and
over prescription everything.
I looked at the bottle afterward and it was like had a black box label on it, like potential to cause weakness of tendons, potential to have lifelong, you know, issues of this, that, and the other. I'm like, it's like when you watch the commercial for these medicines for antidepressants.
They kill you.
It's like, oh, side effects may include depression. I'm like, what?
Suicidal attempts.
Yeah, suicidal thoughts. And I'm like, Jesus, this is worse than the person's. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's just it's a fucking weird world, man. Like this industry is just the pharmaceutical industry and the medicine and how it's prescribed to people is just, dude, there's nothing like. Okay, obviously there's some things where these things are actually really necessary and super beneficial.
Yeah.
But in the grand scheme of things, it's like most issues can be alleviated with like proper nutrition, proper exercise, and consistency with those things.
Yeah.
Like period.
It's so crazy how I'm now learning that more and more as I become an adult. Whereas like as a kid, it's like you said, it's almost standardized. Like this is the process. Pharmaceutical. Rest,
take
whatever.
this pill.
Take this pill.
Rely on this shit, and then rely on that shit, and then this shit because you took that. Now you got to do this.
Yeah,
it's like a fucking chain of fucking money, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Follow the money, man.
It's crazy.
Follow the money, and it's sad, honestly, because it's just like people's lives just get
ruined. Can be.
Yeah,
fucked up, man.
It's fucking crazy, but bro, it was a pleasure to talk to you.
Of course, man.
You're crushing it. And
it.
I thank you for coming on such short notice.
Of course.
We had to talk. I wanted to talk about this fight with someone that, you know, was going to have like some good input on it because I'm not a fucking professional commentator. I just talk a lot of shit on the internet.
Dude.
You know?
Sometimes that's all of us, though. And I will say, as we hit lead off or as we get out of here, influencer boxing is in a space now where we have a real opportunity to either cement ourselves or, again, what we saw with the Logan and Dillon fight, get looked at as a joke. And it's only you got to come down to is try. If you're going to step into this scene, just try. Don't do it just for a bag. Take this shit serious or it's going to go away.
Yeah,
straight up.
Damn sure.
Straight up.
Yeah, because like when it's not, you know, Logan or Jake or one of these other big names doing it, if it doesn't have that, like some sort of like legitimacy in it, people are going to be like, this shit's fucking boring.
That's another point too, is like the next wave. Who's it going to be? Because these guys aren't going to fight forever. So someone's going to have to step up. Maybe they have to be 260 plus. And you know what I'm saying?
Let's go, MMA. Let's do it, dude.
I'm telling you, it's never happening. I'm going to get him in gloves. Don't worry. We'll figure it out.
God, fucking gloves, man. I just want hands. Just a little tiny piece.
That is a fucking mallet you got.
So you could really feel it.
Yeah,
you know?
This guy's a psycho. Listen at him smiling, so you could feel that.
Yeah,
I like.
No, because like you really feel pain.
Yeah.
Anyways, subscribe to the channel every Tuesday, 11 a.m. I appreciate you. Thank you for coming on, man.
Of course, bro.
That was fucking awesome. And I wish you much more success for sure.
Thank you.
Cool. That was awesome.
Boom.
Yeah, you're well spoken.
Thanks, brother.
You're a fucking comment.